Welcome to the Sheffield United Way. My name is Hal. In today's match preview, we'll get Wigan Athletic versus Sheffield United team news for Monday's 8 p.m. clash, as well as last time out, player connections, and wait until the end for our score prediction. Hope you're doing well. It is a match preview with myself and Ollie doing these two today. Ollie, hopefully without beard, but with cold. Is that what's happening? Is that the latest?
That's the latest, yeah. No beard, but a lot of phlegm. So I'm going to try and keep that off stream if I can, because I don't think anybody wants to see that. But yeah, it's nice to have you, Hal. Been a while.
It's felt that way, absolutely. Now, you were showing off and giving me some party pieces, which I've got to say would be the dullest party I've ever been invited to. But you told me you know the stadia without undersoil heating in the Championship. Well, what are they?
Well, I think so. I think it's Luton, I think it's Rotherham, and I think it's Blackpool. And the only reason I know that is because Luton's game tomorrow is called off as a result of them not having it, and it sparked a lively debate amongst the Man clan. So, you know, what can you expect? We just all go at Christmas.
Those winter nights must fly by. Yes, Hal Stewart, Ollie Mann. His middle name is Gingerbread, for those not familiar. And we have got to do a big shout out to our members. Thanks to each and every one of you that support the channel. It is really appreciated. Names running along the bottom for all of those. No doubt, Ollie, blowing your nose at that point and taking yourself off screen. And I respect that.
You've got to be considerate.
You've got to be considerate. Also, a big shout out to Parrot Peel for sponsoring the channel. Thank you very much to them. A musical ensemble. Do check them out. Parrot Peel, which is PEEL.com. Last game, Ollie, I'm going to get your thoughts on this one as well as give my own, but I want yours first. It was a return to league action. We, of course, midway through a World Cup, something that just still seems so alien and so weird and so foreign to me. Huddersfield at the Lane, a narrow win. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird, just general atmosphere. Obviously, we've got the England game kicking off later on in the day. So it was just really strange. It felt like a really strange atmosphere. You got Huddersfield's fans trying to chant "It's coming home," and it was just very strange atmosphere, really. But in terms of the game, I thought United, first off, were unbelievably comfortable. I think we identified that Huddersfield had their limitations. I think we knew that we were the better team. But yet it was only really a bit of a moment of magic from Njai to get Billy in, to give us that 1-goal lead. And then the second half, the less said about it, the better. I thought it was poor. I thought United weren't particularly good. But again, it comes from that comfortableness of the first half. We felt it was such an easy game almost that we just backed off. We let them have the ball. We knew they couldn't really hurt us, but it was a bit disappointing to see that second 45 minutes. I'd hoped for better.
More or less concerned with an away trip to the DW?
Similar, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. This will bite me on the backside immediately, won't it? I shouldn't have started so confidently.
No.
I see Wigan as being a similar level of performance to Huddersfield. Don't think they're a fantastic side, but under a new manager, his first game at home for them, it's always going to be a bit of a challenge. We've got to make sure we're up for it, and we can't do what we did in that second 45 because they would hurt.
Agreed. I'm going to go through some of the players that are back very soon, but it is an away game. We're going to look at the last time we played Wigan away and see if you're as confident of seeing a similar kind of result. Ollie, what happened last time we went to Wigan?
Well, last time we went to Wigan, it was promotion season. We were flying. We'd got a fantastic side. But the only memorable thing, in fact, there's two memorable things that happened in this game, and they both happened in the second half. So I'll come to them in a moment. So at half-time, United are 1-0 up. We've got a little bit of a dodgy goal. Didsey from a corner. It was a little bit of a scrap, and he's fired it in. Didsey, of course, we've got a hat-trick today, which is always nice to see. Always like to keep an eye on how he's doing. Then we come into the second half, and Dean Henderson pumps one long. Billy controls it fantastically, lays it off to Duffy, and United are 2-0 up and cruising. And then the big moments come. First of all, Billy Sharp gets goal number 220, which makes him the all-time top scorer of this century in the English Football League. That
Yes.
was at Wigan. And of course, we get the final comedy moment, one of the peak moments of Dean Henderson, when Lee Evans is lining up a shot. He sees his name in lights, sees the top corner, and misses by an absolute mile, to which Dino did the biggest dramatic dive you could ever see. A very comfortable 3-0 win for United. And, well, I'd very much like to see the same thing again, but I don't know how confident I am it'll be just as comfortable.
That is the kind of research that you do not get when I am doing that section. Very, very impressive, Ollie. It's really something to behold. The undersoil heating knowledge was good for me, but that really was the icing on the cake. So let's look at a little bit of team news for United ahead of this one. Paul Heckingbottom has said we've got a good group now. You can see with the bench, Lowy, which of course is Max Lowe, he's said, and I quote, fit as a fiddle. Jayden Bogle is back. Bash has been playing, of course, didn't get on. Or put Jebbo in the mix soon as well. Perhaps Tommy Doyle and Jack Robinson into that. So what Heckingbottom has said is, I am going to be leaving some good players out of the squad, and that's not a reflection on them, but on us. Interesting quote. Fleck apparently still feeling pain with his leg. We know Ollie McBurney is not 100% fit following his hernia operation and the ankle ligament injury. So Heckingbottom has said he's not where we want him to be. We need to get him back 100% fit, not him putting himself forward to play cameo roles that he has been. He's missed out on minutes this week for matters out of our control. Now, of course, we know what those are. We have a video on this channel that Nick put together pretty quickly yesterday. Of course, not during his working day, but just after. And I thought he did a really good job. So do check that out if you get an opportunity to. We've also, while we're speaking of Nick, let's have a little look at what he reckons. Now, is he, as Gordon Ramsay would say, Ollie, an idiot sandwich, or do you think that's likely?
I don't think he's far off. I think that looks like a potentially very likely team. I think the back five, definitely. Midfield, probably. Not sure if we'll see McAtee from the start. That's the only one for me. It depends on, obviously, the other fitness issues. We just don't know who is back to be able to play in that position. We'd all love, absolutely love, for it to be Sander Berge. But I don't know. So that's the only one for me. I think other than that, he's probably got it just about spot on.
Billy Sharp, I think a lot of people are questioning if he's still got it, if he is still the man that you can rely on, particularly if you are playing what sometimes people refer to as one up front, although very much when we're attacking it, it doesn't look that way. Do you still believe in Billy Sharp?
It's such a hard question to answer because you always believe in Billy Sharp. You've got to, because he's always been able to deliver. He's always been able to stand up and make sure he's counted for Sheffield United. He got his first goal of the season last week, and it'd be fantastic to see him really kick on from there now and really have a part to play in keeping us at the top of the league and hopefully getting back to the Premier League. I do feel as though performance-wise, he's probably not been at his regular level. And that to me is a concern. Obviously, as soon as McBurney's back fit, he will be taking that position back. It's hard to rely on him at this stage. You know, he's been around a long time, but you've always got to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Ben Osborne, we've been watching penalties, of course, in the World Cup. Does anyone take a better pen in this squad than Ben Osborne?
No, don't think they do. No. Ben Osborne, run up, smack it. That's all you've ever got to do. Yeah. Run up and smack it.
Yeah, he does the same with penalties as he does with kettles over his house. There is no nonsense with Ben Osborne, and he'll always give you 100%, as will Ollie when it comes to research. And you're going to have to do it again, my friend, because we're now jumping to Wigan, the opposition for Monday night. What can you share with us?
Indeed. So I've been doing a little bit of reading on Wigan. Unfortunately, I had asked a colleague of mine if he could help me out and just give me a little bit of intel on Wigan. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to come through in time for the video today. So I had to do a little bit of reading of my own. So I think they've got 3 key injuries that are really affecting them at the moment. I think Ryan Nyambe, who they got on a free in the summer, and Tom Pearce, they're about due back, but it does seem as though this game is going to be a little bit too early for them. Jason Kerr is their long-term injury, and it looks as though he's done for the season. So it's hard to predict exactly what they're going to look like. As I said before, they've only had 1 game under the new manager, but back then they did play a 4-2-3-1. It was a decent performance. They got a 1-1 result away at Millwall, which I think they'll be very happy with, given the form that Millwall were in pre the World Cup. So I think they're going to keep the faith. I think they'll keep the same formation, and I think they will probably go with the same team, and that'll see Jamie Jones in net. Back four of Tendai Darikwa, Curtis Tilt, Jack Watmo, and Joseph Bennett. Max Power, the man with the greatest name in the EFL, will be in centre mid with Tom Naylor. You then have sort of three behind the striker, James McLean, Will Keane, who's their top scorer, who's a very good player. I know we were rumoured to be after him in the summer. And so one definitely to keep an eye on. And then Callum Lang will be coming in off the right. And then up front, Nathan Broadhead. They've got him on loan from Everton. Had a good season in League One last year, but I'm not sure he's really caught fire yet in the Championship. Only got 3 goals so far. Played, I think it's 19 games. So you've got to think that they are maybe struggling going forwards. They've not got loads of goals in the team if you can keep Will Keane quiet.
Hopefully we can. Was it Will Keane that played alongside James Wilson for Manchester United?
It was indeed, yeah.
And that did we get the wrong one?
Oh,
we had a choice.
That's always United's way. We always get the wrong one.
It's certainly possible. There's a few examples of players I can think of where we had a chance to sign another player who maybe went on to have a slightly more glamorous career, and we chose one that was maybe still good, but perhaps not ours. I'm sure you can all
Diego
think
Maradona come to mind?
I wasn't thinking of that. I mean, who could possibly say? There are other examples of players where we've perhaps got the wrong signing over the line. Dean Whitestone is going to be the referee. He's from Northamptonshire, so he's going to take charge of this one. And actually, I don't think a boo is required if you were going to take that role from Nick, because this guy's been a bit of a good luck charm. So he's taken charge of 15 matches in all competitions this season. He's given 45 yellow cards, which is quite high, 1 red card, which was actually 2 yellows. And he's given 4 penalties. But here's where it kind of gets interesting. He was in charge of the Blades' 2-0 away win at West Brom in October. Last season, he refereed 3 United matches, the Blades winning 2 and drawing the other. The last 3 times he's ref the Blades on the road, we've won by a 2-goal margin. West Brom 2-0, Peterborough 2-0, and of course Hull 3-1. So good omens all round from this referee, Dean Whitestone. And like you said a little bit earlier, let's hope it's not kind of, tempting fate, famous last words, all that stuff. But you just go with what you've got so far. And stats-wise, from what have you done for me lately? He's done wins. Yeah. So
yeah, and you can't complain at anybody who's done wins. As long as they've done wins, Hal, that's all that you need to see.
They've done wins. Yeah, I'm glad you repeated that sentence, which isn't quite the one I actually wanted to get out. But he's done wins. Right. And let's hope United have done a win. I want to say on Tuesday, we've done a win. It sounds like so 2 people who've never watched football. Give me your score prediction after I remind people that, of course, and you should if you're not already, watch the score predictions that you do with Nick. For those that haven't been catching up recently, how are you getting on?
Yeah, every Thursday we go through, we're predicting all the games in the Championship. I had an absolutely shocking end to the period pre-World Cup. I was starting to really lose track of anything I was predicting. But a much better week last week. That seems to be going a lot better. I actually beat Nick, which was nice to see. Sort of shortened that gap on the overall season. And so hopefully I'm having another good week this week. It's not perfect, but, a couple of games left yet. And so I need to get some results, because actually I might be losing this week so far.
You might be.
On a Saturday.
So for those that saw it, you predicted
2-0. 2-0. I'm fairly confident about this one for United. As I said at the start, I think these are one of the poorer teams in the division. It might come back to bite me. Every team is capable of turning up, particularly under a new manager. But I think United have got enough to get over the line here. I think with Illiman, we've got the difference maker. I think if anyone's going to be able to just take this game and just win it, it's probably him. And so whenever he's on the pitch, I'm feeling fairly confident in games like this that may be tight otherwise.
Well, the game is on Sky, which is maybe why Nick has said 0-0, because it can often be the case that games that are on the telly are slightly duller than the matches that don't get seen by your neutral. I think we've got to look at some things. Only the 21st meeting between the Blades and Wigan. We haven't played them a lot. 9 wins to 6 with 5 draws. We met December 16th, 2006, winning 1-0 at the DW. I was there. It was back then called JJB. That was what we thought was going to be a very, very crucial win in a really important season. Scored 3 on the last 2 visits to Wigan, which is, again, a good omen. You've already mentioned that last visit, 3-0. I think we are going to win it. I'm not going to sound overly confident, because sometimes I watch United and I think we don't always look like we've got the ability to score lots of goals. And it definitely it definitely has been looking that way in some games. Away from home, perhaps more so. So I think we're going to nick it. We're going to nick it 1-0. And like Nick, I'm going along and saying it's not going to be a classic at all. And again, Sky will hopefully start questioning why they pick so many United games and stop picking so many United games, because today was devoid of football, and I hate a Saturday when at 3:00 I'm having to find something else to do. And I did, and I walked a really long way. When you get to a point where you're just looking at your step count and think, I should be watching United.
Yeah, well, it's all right for you. I watched Love Actually. That's what I did with my Saturday 3 p.m. no football. That's how I spent it. So, there's pros and cons to going for your nice long walk, mate.
Yeah. Actually, out of the two of us, I've definitely had the better day. When we think of players that have played for both, there aren't too many. We're going to throw this out on Twitter as well. A couple that came to my mind, which I'll give you first, and then Ollie, if you can think of any others. I instantly thought of, and I won't talk about him for more than 1 second, David Unsworth. And I also thought about a player who I have much fonder memories for, particularly against Aston Villa, Andy Liddell. What about you?
Andy Liddell. Yeah, there was a couple that came to mind immediately for me. My first one was Henri Camara. Obviously, wasn't with us that long, and I don't think he was overly successful at Bramall Lane, but
he was all right.
Definitely played for both. And then the other one that stood out to me was Marcus Bent. I will always remember Marcus Bent because I think once upon a time, and I can't remember if this was a joke from my dad or something he said in an interview, but I was about 5, so it could be either. And I just believed it because I'm gullible. But he once missed a sitter. I think it was at Hillsborough, and the moon in his eyes is what had put him off. And for that reason, I always remember Marcus Bent at United.
Well, I think to tell if that story is true or not, did you get the information about if it was a night game?
Oh, actually, that's a good question.
That's my first question.
No, it was. I think it was 7:45, possibly Carabao Cup, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, we lost 2-1. I was at that game, and I remember it. I remember it very well, and hated pretty much every second apart from when we scored.
Yeah, that sounds like most visits to Hillsborough, to be honest.
I can think of some good ones.
Oh, yeah, we've got good ones.
Yeah, one of them very hard to forget.
Hey, nice.
Who else?
Last one, Michael Brown. And now this one caught me a little bit by surprise, to be honest. It was one of them where in the back of your mind something goes, Michael Brown play for them? And then you look into it a little bit and you go, I'm just going to have to Google, did Michael Brown play for them? Yes, he did, in the Premier League. So that's interesting. I don't think he was anywhere near the player for anybody else that he was for us, of course. I was
literally just about to say that. Yeah, because he was that attacking midfielder, that 16-goal-a-season midfielder for the Blades, and then became a defensive, kind of dirty player for,
really horrible tackler.
Your Fulhams, your Tottenhams, your Leeds, your Wigans, your Wigans, as you've just reminded all of us that I'm pretty sure forgot. Maybe we didn't need reminding, but you got it either way. We will be, of course, back with a match reaction to follow. Very late night for me with the time difference, and hopefully all of you that aren't going can enjoy it, and those that are going, I believe tickets still available on the day, so let's try and fill that away in as much as we can. Ollie, hopefully you can feel a little bit better, pal, very soon. It's going on too long. And did we do well without bringing up the beard thing? And
we did. I barely even had to cover the fact that I now look like this weird child who didn't mean to shave his beard off and made a mistake with his trimmer. But yeah, we got through the video without ever having to bring it up.
No beard mentions whatsoever. Ollie, thank you very much for joining us. Each and every one of you that have been watching, I hope you really enjoyed the game. Up the Blades.
Up the Blades.